Hello and welcome to Connect, the weekly podcast of the California MBA, featuring one-on-one interviews with movers and shakers in the mortgage industry. I'm Susan Milazzo, CEO of the California MBA, and I'm very happy that you could join us today. Before we get to today's guest, I'd like to thank our Connect podcast sponsor, Incelerate.
Thanks, Susan, and thanks for listening. This is Josh Wren, CEO and founder of Incelerate. We're grateful for our partnership with the CMBA and are committed as a company to help lenders close more loans. We do this with our customer experience platform that has a CRM, lead management, marketing, automation, robust content library, desktop and mobile applications. We do this to help you engage and stay connected to your current borrowers, referral partners, past borrowers, and potential new ones. If you want to find out why we're the fastest growing CRM provider in the mortgage industry, please reach out to us and ask for a demo.
Okay, thank you, Josh. And with that, I will turn it to today's guest. I am very happy to welcome Dan Catinella with Total Expert. Dan, welcome.
Thank you, Susan. Happy to be here.
I was very happy that we could make this work. I always like to start out with a little information on how people came to the mortgage business. It's always a fun story. So you want to kick us off with how did you come into the mortgage business?
Sure. So you could say I started out as kind of a technology purist, I guess, and in a medium-sized lender, so literally right outside of college, got injected into a medium-sized lender, gateway funding, and started developing software on, actually wore a bunch of different hats. Software development was one of them on primarily, loan origination system and CRM platform. As well, I was training as new LOs and originators and operations staff would come to the organization, as well I was kind of the front lines of defense for support. So I had kind of a trifecta going, entering the business to really consume a whole bunch of knowledge and understand the industry. I also had some fantastic mentors early on in my career who really taught me who my customer is and really gave me a customer mindset entering the business, which I still think really set me up for success. And I try to mentor people all the time to really make sure that they take that with them because it's so important. But really, I just grew a passion for understanding the industry and a passion for really collaborating with originators and really understanding how they grew their business, what challenges they faced, understanding the market conditions and how they needed to pivot to use technology to help grow their business. And at that point, I really just, completely just decided to engulf myself in the business and really get in the trenches with originators all across the country. I had an opportunity to meet with a whole bunch of branches and really consume the knowledge of the business because I really truly believed I couldn't really be effective in developing the right technology and innovating unless I understood the depths of the business that I needed to. So really grew my career in more of what I would say the intersection of business and technology in the mortgage industry for the last 20 years. And recently decided to leave a lender. Previously, my last position was Chief Digital Officer of Finance America, and decided to really go down a new path and partner with somebody that was a cultural cultural match for me and understood how to innovate and had a passion for really disrupting the industry, and everything really aligned with Total Experts notion and motivation to really bring data and intelligence and really give that a competitive advantage to each originator out there at scale. And one of my other passions has always been collaborating with lenders all across the industry. Even when I was with, quote unquote competitors, I love collaborating with, lenders all across the country and help, working together to try to solve common trends in the industry and industry challenges. And now I get to do that actually as part of my job. So it's super exciting. I'm super happy to be a Total Expert. I love the culture and the team that we built here, and I'm excited to just be a part of it.
That's great. Yeah, you're working with my friend Bill Dallas at Finance of America.
One of my favorite mentors, absolutely.
And he is for everybody. He was one of the first people that I met in this business, and I love that you mention the mentors that have helped you along the way, and that you are now mindful to be a mentor to others, right? I mean, it's just so important for us to, embrace new entrants into the market and make sure that they're successful and let them benefit from, the great experience that you've had.
Yeah, and you know what, the other thing I'll add to that is technology people can sometimes be introverts and just kind of almost hide behind technology sometimes, right? And I call it a lot of times kind of bringing the technology people out of the closet and getting them into the trenches so that they're almost forced to really understand the business and communicate effectively and talk in business terms. I think it's just so valuable. And I early on was put into so many uncomfortable situations and really helped me grow as an individual. And I just encourage every technologist out there to really put themselves in uncomfortable situations, get out with the business leaders, get out into the trenches with originators. It will be meaningful improvement for you.
That's great. That's great advice. So you are one of the few people that have that unique distinction of being from, have a career in technology, but you're actually from the mortgage banking industry side of the, of the business. And how do you think that gives you an advantage in this particular market?
Yeah, so it allows me to really, it's all about driving business value, return on investment, and making sure that you're developing solutions that ultimately resonate with market conditions. I mean, you're not gonna, in this market we're in where, you're 70, across the industry, you're over 70% purchase business right now. You're not going to go focus things on that's going to be relevant to refinance business, right? So it gives me an advantage to understand the business and the industry, understand forecasting, understand where originators are winning or experiencing challenges, and allows us to really go after those. How can we create technology solutions that minimize today's market challenges? Or mitigate them altogether? How can we, look at where people are winning in the industry and seizing opportunities, and how can we help accelerate and grow that? Total expert, and at Total Expert, we really, all go under the same notion is first and foremost, we need to listen to our customers. We need to understand the market conditions, and we're totally obsessed with creating new ways to really educate, advise, and engage our customers, whether that's creating customer journeys for first-time home buyers or, doing things like, some of the partnerships we've built with BombBomb and Denim Social to really accelerate how we communicate and educate at mass scale through our customers in a very hyper-personalized way. Using data and intelligence. There's so many organizations that have put massive energy and investments into kind of these data models and really haven't seen the return on them. But how can we make sure that we're building a platform using data and intelligence that actually makes actionable results and outcomes, whether that's driving workflow and automated marketing. But how can we actually make sure that we create the most turnkey solutions so the lenders don't have to invest tens of millions of dollars to create these data models that ultimately may not produce results in the end? So giving our customers the most relevant turnkey solutions that are purpose built for our industry is really what it's all about. And it's not just about what we're doing inside of Total Expert, it's also about aligning us with the right partners and integrations, because as we build our platform, we look at it as kind of the marketing growth hub for all of our customers. So the more partnerships that we build, the more value our platform gets, and the more value that those partners we can bring to those partners as well. So it's been a fantastic ride, and I feel like I am sitting at some advantage, understanding the industry, understanding the technology space, and I'm just trying to provide value every day to the Total Expert team and all of our lender partners.
So thinking about today's market, 22 is definitely a tough year for my members, for the industry. We've come off of several years of pretty good market, 2 years of incredible volumes, and now we're finding ourselves where we're at now. What are, other than some of the obvious stuff, what are your top priorities that your clients are sharing with you for the balance of 22, and then looking on to 2023, since we're coming to near the end of the year?
Yeah, so I'll touch on a couple things. One is obviously cost reductions. So anything that we can do through our platform to reduce costs, and also, provide the highest ROI that we can, possibly do so is definitely, I would say, number one focus. So that may be, maybe you're using 3 different platforms for your marketing, technology, CRMs, different marketing tool sets, different other sales widgets that may not be, integrated. So how can we really help optimize your technology stack, consolidate platforms? You shouldn't have to use multiple platforms and different channels of business. Maybe you do a wholesale business and a consumer direct channel and a distributed retail channel. Let us put together an optimized workflow for you so we can help consolidate those platforms into one cohesive solution, help reduce your staff, help reduce licensing costs and software costs and integration costs. And then how can we look at all of your tech stack and orchestrate kind of an optimized approach to how you're leveraging, so you get the investments that you've made, how can we actually produce a higher ROI by really leveraging your tech stack to its fullest integration capabilities. The next thing I would just say is growth. I would say I see lenders on either 2 sides of the fence. One is they're trying to shrink down to a level where they can be profitable, and then there's the other ones that are trying to just have exponential growth in a market like this. So one of the things that we're focused on is our recruiting efforts and making sure that we're using data and intelligence to really help facilitate better recruiting efforts in a more systematic way, in a more automated way. So we're definitely having a lot of conversations with lenders that are looking to grow market share. In these down markets, there are a lot of opportunities to grow market share for sure, and we're seeing a lot of great companies take advantage of that. And then products expansion. I mean, I think everybody's trying to look at how can I serve more customers, right? How can I offer more things to customers that may go beyond even a forward mortgage? How can I, we're seeing lenders obviously offer a lot of HELOCs, using our customer intelligence platform coupled with promotion of HELOCs is a great advantage. So how can you target those customers that may be ripe for a HELOC opportunity? Reverse mortgages is another one. So we have, very canned journeys for reverse mortgages that we can offer to our partners that want to get more into that business. We know historically originators have not, have hesitated to offer reverse mortgage because they're just not properly educated or they don't have the right investor outlets, but there are a lot of people that are getting that business. I mean, there's 10,000 consumers a day that are becoming eligible for reverse mortgage. So it's an exponentially growing market that all lenders should be tapping into. And then you got 9QM, and obviously we're seeing a dramatic increase in ARMs and IOs. So those are some of the things that we're seeing. And then it's obviously we're in a purchase market, so a lot around how do we support our referral partner networks? How do we help our originators grow their referral partner networks? So a lot around how we're using data and intelligence to understand where originators are focusing their time, understanding, how much business they're getting from each of the referral partners, how much total business is that referral partner doing, to make sure that you can have a real conversation with a referral partner. If a referral partner's, selling, five transactions a month, then and you're only getting 2 and you're spending $5,000 on an MSA, that should be a referral partner you want to have a real conversation with of how to tap into more of their business. So those are some of the trends that I'd say the top trends that we're seeing.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, everybody's looking for, how can we expand what we're offering to consumers, right? Because it's not, it's certainly a different market than it's been really in the past decade, but for sure in the last couple of years. So how is Total Expert setting themselves apart from competitors in this market?
Yeah, so I would say first and foremost, we're making a tremendous amount of investments into data, and really, making investments into data that we can create actionable and positive outcomes. Things like, high intent data, such as, a mortgage inquiry is pulled. So somebody goes to another lender and gets their mortgage pulled, or I list my home on the market, or I just got married or divorced. So using data to really create actionable and positive outcomes. Maybe my equity has increased a dramatic amount, but my credit, my debt credit profile has increased dramatically, so they may be ripe for a cash out refinance or a debt consolidation or a HELOC opportunity. So, like I said earlier, many organizations have invested a ton into data, but what we're finding is that they're not necessarily making it actionable and putting it into a cohesive workflow and automation. So using data coupled with our intelligent workflow and journey automation ultimately has created some significant positive outcomes. So we're kind of doubling and tripling down on our investments into data and making sure that we're making a purpose-built platform for the mortgage industry that can use data and ultimately create actionable insights for our consumers. So if we can develop the most cohesive financial profile for every customer. So let's just say you have a customer that you transacted with 3 years ago. Your income may have changed. Some of your life statuses may have changed. Your assets may have changed. Your credit profile may have changed. So one of our goals is to really keep that updated through that entire customer's life cycle, as well as enrich that and add continual data elements onto that so that you have the most cohesive financial profile for every one of your customers well after that transaction. And can constantly deliver the most personalized experience to each of those customers and engage them in most meaningful ways.
That's that customer experience is going to be really key, right? I mean, it always is, but especially in a market like this where everybody's chasing that purchase dollar, that I think that's a great position to have, especially, like I say, especially right now. So, as we talked before, I mean, you've been an innovator in this industry for years. What can you share with our listeners about the mortgage industry? What can they learn from maybe other industries about tech adoption?
Yeah, so for me and the entire Total Expert team, it starts with just listening to our clients, talking to originators. So one of the things that we recently did is stand up an originator advisory board. So we have street level feedback directly from originators. We also have strategic partnerships that we constantly hear what they're saying, what they're facing, because market to market, there's different challenges in different markets. If you're in Southern California versus upstate Wisconsin, just the market's different. So making sure that we build trends holistically and prioritize accordingly. So constantly listening and talking to consumers, getting out in the trenches with them and making sure that we understand the challenges that they're facing, the opportunities that they're seeing, and providing us with those insights so that we can make sure that we're working on the most relevant information for them. And it's all about providing ROI, so making sure that we can tell really clear stories about success cases and business cases that we're seeing originators win out there, how they're using our platform. Ultimately, that drives adoption. So if you can get your sales organization to really champion behind things in your organization, that's really how you win. They don't want to hear from some technology leader, sitting at the corporate level in an ivory tower about, how great this shiny object is. They want to see the results, and
Right.
they want to hear from their peers that are credible in the organization, that they trust and believe in, the top performers. Make them successful, and they will make the rest of the organization kind of champion along with you. So I would say that's the thing that I've certainly see the most success in, is getting those internal champions for sure. And don't be afraid of failure. Work with your sales staff and believe in a solution. Listen, I've had plenty of failures through my career, but the one thing that I always did was make sure that I had the sales team behind me that believed in the solution before I went to market and across the entire organization. So make sure you got your sales team behind you, make sure it resonates with them, make sure your story is clear, and make sure you have the right champions to help kind of the trajectory of adoption.
Yeah, having those internal company champions, I think, is great advice. Having them, people that they're working with, like, hey, this is why this technology solution is going to work for you, and here's the best way to utilize that. I think that's great advice. Dan, you've been a big supporter of our association. Very grateful for that over the years. You were one of our original hosts of the Mortgage Innovators podcast, so very happy to have you as part of that. What can you share with our listeners about the importance of supporting an organization like the California MBA?
Yeah, so I'm happy to be a California MBA supporter for sure, and I appreciate all the great work that you guys have been doing for sure. I think the way I look at it is there's a couple things we know in the industry. One is we're probably not going to have a decrease in regulations, right? So the continual increase in regulations and the gray areas that legislation typically gets released, I would say, that's one of the things that we've always leaned on your organization for, is really being, that asset of, really solidifying with, the government agencies to make sure that they understand the impacts that legislation can have on our industry. It's just so important because, a lot of those government agencies, many times work in vacuums and don't understand the trailing impacts that they can have. Let's just take the foreclosure process that was proposed in California. I mean, that would have created numerous off-the-record requirements that would have made the titles of foreclosed homes uninsurable. I mean, that would just be a massive impact. The great work that you guys did on some of the the CRA requirements, not having them being applied for IMBs. So there's massive things that having these advocacies work for our industry and communicate that have some level of influence over these state regulators, and just ultimately protect the state of our industry. And California has the largest share of mortgage originations in the country. I mean, that's massively impactful. So if there's any MBA organization that you support, and you're licensed in the state of California, you should certainly be a supporter of the California MBA for sure. And I am that for sure. So I appreciate everything that you guys have done.
Well, thank you. Thanks, Dan. Those are, those were some big issues to tackle this year. We will probably see them both return in 23. So, at least we know we have a longer runway to get out in front of those issues. So thank you for those comments, and I really appreciate you being a guest on Connect. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you, Susan. Great to talk to you.
And thanks to all of you for joining us on Connect. To access any of our past episodes, you can follow us on our YouTube channel. We're also available on SoundCloud, Apple Podcast, and Spotify. That's it for this week, and we'll see you next time on Connect.